Part 2, welcome back ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to discuss the worst stables. Once again, pretty decent feedback here. I think the thing with the worst stables was, because you're discussing the worst, it already dwarfs your enthusiasm a little bit. So it wasn't quite easy to see your favourite stables, but still was some pretty interesting things. I've only picked a couple of points for this one. The best ones did come for the best stables, but this still did bring up a decent wee discussion. Now I'm going to start with Kapeng Mabula. Is that how you pronounce it? Poorest stable for sure would be Voodoo Kin Mafia. The stable is obviously built just to ruin McMahon and DX. DKM is more about shooting WWE than exhibiting talent in the ring. Now yeah, I'd agree 100% with you on this. Now, Voodoo Kin Mafia, they were shit hot as a new age it was in the WWE in 1998. The problem with Voodoo Kin Mafia is, as you say, their ideas are stale now. They're shooting on the very thing that created them. DX was the main reason Indy even cared. Indy even remotely gave a shit about BJ and Kip James. Nobody cared about them. They were, before they were in DX, they were nobodies. You had Road Dogg that was it Road Dogg Jesse James, where he was a country singer. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody could really care less. You had Billy Gunn, who was part of the Smoking Guns. The Smoking Guns, they were fucking awful. I think the thing is, right, it just comes across as sour grapes. It doesn't come across as genuine heat. I don't know whose idea it is for Voodoo Kin Mafia, whether they've got a huge influence behind what's happening, or whether it's Dutch Mantel, Vince Russo writing this stuff. But it's horrible. When Voodoo Kin, when the DX originally invaded the Monday Nitro in '98, it was fresh, and they came out in the army tank, and everybody was feeling the heat, everybody was loving it. People were shouting for DX, WWF. It was crazy. The amount of fanfare that got was off the chart. And then you compare that to the TNA invasion, when the VKM went to a house show in WWE and he asked to see Vince. Now, well, nobody cared. It didn't receive. In fact, I'd be very surprised if anybody even knew, a casual wrestling fan knew that VKM turned up. Nobody knew. And it's been a big disappointment of a gimmick. The Nostalgia Fest wore off very quickly with VKM. And I'd agree with you. I feel that was a pretty valid point. What have we got? Mrs. Cake. The worst stable was the Corporation. I'm already nodding my head at this one. It was just bullcrap. It started off well with The Rock turning against Mankind, but it ended up with no direction and guys tied into it who didn't interact and had no connection with each other. To a certain extent, maybe, but no, the Corporation was a huge success in WWE, and I'm going to attach the ratings from Raw and Nitro and the Monday Night Wars to the side of this link. So look at the top hand right side and click on the link. It gives you a clear rating view, and if you look at May, June 1999, when the Corporation were in full swing, the corporate ministry were in full swing, the ratings, WWE Raw was dwarfing, they were killing WCW Nitro in the ratings, and the main storyline at the time was the corporate ministry. So it was definitely one of the main reasons why the WWE was, at that time and point, WCW never overtook WWE again after that. So that was almost like one of their final nails. So I can maybe see your point with wrestlers not connecting, like guys like Mideon, Viscera. Maybe I don't know actually. I don't agree with that. Nah. Even guys like Mideon and Viscera. I was about to say they didn't really suit the role, but Mideon and Viscera played the gloomy sort of outcast role pretty well. Viscera at the time, this is before his whole love machine ruined his character. He's never been good in the ring, Viscera, but he suited the sort of big man that was scary. He had the scary outlook about him. The big boggly eyes, the sort of scary white afro. He personified he was a very scary character. The Acolytes, they came across as fucking shit scary at the time. Those guys were Farouk and Bradshaw. This is before the APA. This is before they turned into beer drinkers, and they were pretty demonic sidekicks to the Undertaker. They were the tag team champions at the time as well. But no, a perfect example of how strong this was. Remember the higher power? Vince McMahon was a higher power. I always thought it was Shane McMahon. That was a great swerve, no? I'd have to disagree with the Muscle Cake. I just genuinely feel that the Corporation was a great stable. It wasn't the same as like the DX, NWOs and Four Horsemen, but they were quite underrated. They were a brilliantly stable. Another one, I think it was TNA Guru suggested the Radicals. Now the Radicals, another one I disagreed with. I mean, fair enough, they only had a short-term amount of impact, but if you guys remember the first Raw they appeared on when they interfered in the New Age Outlaws and Dudley Boys match, they just sat in the front row of Raw and everybody in that crowd knew what was happening. That was a huge, and I was talking about final nails into the WCW coffin. That was one of them. That was definitely one of the first ones. That was like the warning sign. They can't before the storm, if you will. But I think maybe TNA Guru was suggesting that he didn't really put much more on his point, but maybe he was suggesting that it was a short-term plan, and Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko just sort of faded into the sunset. That I'll agree with, but the initial impact stops them from being the worst ever. The worst ever has got to be something that was a complete failure. But yeah, that's maybe the Job Squad, the Oddities. I was going to say Kaitai, but they had good wrestlers, so I'm going to spare them this slating. I mean, Dick Togo, Taka Michinoku, Funaki, these guys were great wrestlers, and they had Yamaguchi-san. He was a pretty good speaker. They were just misused. They were a victim of WWE writers, but yeah. And now I'm going to get the last video up from the Invasion angle, so thanks.